Matt Smith for 5280 Sports Network. Thanks so much for tuning in. 56-7, the Buffs dismantle the Idaho State Bengals tonight. Back-to-back weeks, the Buffaloes blow out their opponent. Last week, of course, in the Rocky Mountain Showdown, it was Colorado State. And this week, Idaho State, 100-14. They have outscored their first two opponents combined. Sefo Liufau with another great game today, coming out 15 of 18, 204 yards and 2 touchdowns, 6 carries, 54 yards on the ground and a touchdown as well. A nice 19-yard scamper, actually. Impressive stuff from Sefo today, and the Buffs' first unit dismantled that Idaho State team in the second quarter, scoring 35 points. And with just under 2 minutes left in the second quarter, Steven Montez came into the game for the Buffaloes, showed out the redshirt freshman, highly anticipated. He debuted last week against Colorado State for a few plays, didn't throw it all. His first career passing attempt goes for a 69-yard touchdown to Kabianento, a JUCO transfer. Everyone, including myself, has been very high on. The kid's very athletic. He's a big guy as well. Did a nice job breaking some tackles on his way to the end zone. As we go over the big keys for this one, the Buffs would score 35, like I said, in that second quarter, en route to their biggest halftime lead in school history. At halftime, it was 49-0. And that's certainly been a very, very welcome change of pace from the last few years. Colorado did a very good job today controlling the pace. Coach McIntyre alluded how they came out of the blocks ready to play early, and that was a very good sign because this is a team now that's strung together 2 games. They've got a huge week of practice this week before the game at Michigan on Saturday. Traveling to the Big House is going to be no easy feat, and I think all Buff fans are going to ask this week, well, is this Buffs team for real? We wondered last week if the Buffs were that good or if the Rams were that bad, but this week I think we proved that it wasn't a fluke. Colorado has shown up to play, and I think more importantly, you're seeing a team like we've talked about repeatedly, the most experienced team in Colorado history, show up with maturity, which Sefo talked about. He was in the post-game press conference. He was very, very glad to see that the entire team has focused on Idaho State, had focused on Idaho State this week. And from an outside perspective, you can clearly tell the demeanor's changed. And after 2 big blowouts like that, I think that this Buffs team is realizing they might be on the verge of something special. As we run down the big notes from the game, attendance was just under 40,000. Very solid crowd for the first game of the year. Of course, it did clear out around the second half there with the 49-0 lead, but you can't really blame fans. It was a beautiful day for football. 77 degrees at kickoff. You could tell the Buffs were working on getting the ball downfield. Sefo tried to get Shea Fields involved quite a bit. Jay McIntyre with a career day, 6 catches, 76 yards, both career highs for him. Nearly 600 yards of total offense. Colorado moving the ball with ease offensively. Donovan Lee, Phillip Lindsay, Kyle Evans combined for 130 yards and 3 touchdowns, 2 of those belonging to Phillip Lindsay. That's 4 on the season. The Buffs have found their starting running back. And I do believe Coach Mike McIntyre has a few aces up his sleeve for next week's big game at Michigan. The biggest thing that I think the Buffs alluded to in the post-game presser is they tried to get everybody reps. There was a situation in this late in the second quarter where when Montez comes into the game, where second unit starts to come in and third unit starts to come in, and I think Coach Mike McIntyre wanted to get those guys experience just in case people get hurt down the line. I liked what I saw from the defense once again. The secondary, I think one thing you can take away from this game, the secondary and the linebackers got their hands on a few balls that probably should have been picked off, and in future games, especially this week going over game film, they're going to be talking about that quite a bit. Ball security an issue. Bo Bisharat fumbles with very little time left to go in the third quarter, and funny enough, the only time the Idaho State Bengals were across midfield up until that point was when Bisharat fumbled. And Bisharat fumbled inside the 30. Idaho State gets a touchdown there late in the third quarter. But other than that, it was all Buffaloes from the get-go. Impressive stuff from Colorado. And as I look over the final few notes, what can you not like from what you've seen so far? The Buffs have checked off every box. They're beating teams they should beat by the amount that they should beat them. Very good stuff from Colorado once again. And leading into this week, Coach Mike McIntyre preached in that post-game press conference that it's going to be one day at a time, one practice at a time, and hopefully with the most experienced team in school history, they are going to be able to pack it up and take it on the road, which is going to be a very big test next week at Michigan. Tune in to No Bull, Just Buffs this week, and we are going to get into that game. A lot of questions need to be answered. And what tricks exactly does Mike McIntyre have up his sleeve for Ann Arbor? Thanks for tuning in for 5280 Sports Network. I'm Matt Smith.